All right, we're getting a little bit of a late start this evening, but we are going to talk some severe weather in just a moment. If you have questions about what we're expecting on Friday, let me know, and we will get started in just a moment. All right, all right, all right. Of course, the clock goes crazy just as I launch. I promise I fixed that right before we got started. There we go. Never fails. All right, welcome into a little live severe weather chat. We're not expecting severe weather tonight. This is talking about what's going to happen on Friday. But I wanted to go ahead and get the word out there, and answering questions works a little bit better in a live format than a pre recorded format. So if you've got questions about the potential of severe weather on Friday, I'm here to answer them. Hope you're all doing well. For those joining us, I'm meteorologist Shane Smith. I'm based out of London, Kentucky, and we've had quite a couple weeks here in London. And across Kentucky, we had the tornado here in Laurel County, also the one a few weeks ago over in Washington County. So folks are a little bit more on edge about the weather right now. So I just wanted to drop in and talk about the potential of severe weather on Friday. So we're good tonight. You don't have to stay up and be worried about the weather tonight. Tomorrow, slight chance of severe weather, far western Kentucky, central and eastern Kentucky. I don't think we get anything severe tomorrow. Friday, there's the potential for a little bit of lower end severe weather, but we have seen recently that Mother Nature has not been messing around, and we'll leave it in those terms. So if you have questions about what to expect, I'll be happy to answer those. Let's talk a little bit about the setup. High pressure is in control right now. You can see that is currently centered over Asheville, North Carolina. That high pressure is scooting off to the east. We have got a very strong subtropical jet overhead driving in a low pressure and a cold front. That is going to move on into Kentucky tomorrow. And especially on Friday is when kind of the peak of that energy and the peak of that wind is going to move into the region. And because of that, we do have the potential of some severe weather. Now, tonight, thankfully, not tracking much in the way of severe weather. There's a few warnings back around Amarillo, Texas, a little flood warning there in central Missouri. But overall, the storms are behaving themselves this evening. Although that storm near Amarillo is really popping off. That has likely got some serious wind in that. So, what's going to happen? This entire frontal system will move into the bluegrass starting tomorrow, and then as we go on into Friday, that's when our chance here in central and eastern Kentucky is going to ramp up. Chris Tinnell asking, is there a chance for long track tornadoes on this? On this one, it is not looking likely for long track tornadoes. There is a small chance of an isolated spin up. But violent long track tornadoes like what we saw here in Laurel County back on May 16th, the chances of that are like slim to none. Let's break down those chances. Let's go ahead and bring up the severe weather outlook from the Storm Prediction Center. So they put this out earlier in the day. This is their day 3 outlook. You'll notice most of the state under a 2 out of 5 risk of severe weather, with far eastern Kentucky being that marginal risk, and far northern Kentucky up around Covington and Cincinnati. Now, right now, all modes of severe weather are on the board. Now, what does that mean? That means large hail potential is there. We could see some golf ball size hail possible. Damaging winds possible, 60, 65 miles per hour, can't be ruled out. Heavy rain could lead to some isolated flash flooding, as Logan pointed out earlier. It rained darn near every day in May down here in London. we've got very saturated ground across most of the state. And, we've already dealt with catastrophic flooding in central and western Kentucky earlier. Um, yeah, Chris, I know, it's wild. That was a low end severe threat for those folks as well and dropped a daggone EF2 out of nowhere. We've had it rough lately. Um, so we don't want to downplay it. We don't want to overplay it. We just want to give you guys the information. So, what does a 2 out of 5 mean on that severe weather scale? Well, probabilistically, that means by the chance of it, a 15 to 29% chance of severe weather. Well, what is severe weather? Severe weather is classified by winds of at least 50 knots or 58 miles per hour and 1 inch diameter hail. One of those two things is what you need for severe weather, and then obviously tornadoes can spin off of that. But that is the probability of anywhere in that yellow area on Friday. You have a 15 to a 29% chance of seeing severe weather anywhere within that area, or 25%, or 25 miles, 25 miles within that yellow zone. Um, Logan Paul is saying, yeah, Tornado Alley has moved. And yes, unfortunately, Kentucky seems to be in the new Tornado Alley. I didn't originally have this planned to pop up, but one thing I may try to pop up real quick is the severe weather breakdown of what to expect with the different categories. So we will put that together. If you all have questions about what to expect on Friday, be sure to ask those, and I will be happy to answer those questions. And forgive me 1 second, y'all. Building a little graphic on the fly here, because that's what we do. We serve our audience. I just realized I need that. Diane, unfortunately, looking like scattered thunderstorms possible on Saturday. Why did that not work? Let's try that. Sorry, folks, trying to get that severe weather graphic loaded on the fly here. There we go. So let's go ahead and take that. All right, there we go. Time frame on the storms for Friday. Best chance going to be in the afternoon or evening, Shauna. We're going to take a look at the models here in just a second. But just to understand those severe weather categories, so we're under that slight risk. That means scattered severe thunderstorms are possible, short-lived and or not as widespread. You can't have an isolated intense storm, and that's kind of what happened out in Washington County the other day. We were under a slight risk that day. They had one isolated cell that went really intense. When do you think this pattern will break? Chris, that's a really good question. Right now, I am not seeing anything that's showing this pattern letting up, and that is slightly concerning for me here. Let me pull up the models, and we will kind of answer Shauna's question about the timing on Friday. So let's start off. This is Thursday morning. Notice we'll probably have a few scattered thunderstorms out in western Kentucky early in the morning. Those will likely try to die off a bit as they hit the Ohio River. And as we go into the afternoon and evening, a few more isolated storms may pop up. Those do have a small chance of going severe. There is a marginal risk out in far western Kentucky tomorrow. I'm not mentioning that for our broadcast just because I'm focusing more on Friday for central and eastern Kentucky. Y'all know that's where I cover a little bit more in depth. Friday morning, there could be an isolated shower or thunderstorm in central and eastern Kentucky, but the better chances roll in after lunchtime. In fact, you can see near Somerset around lunchtime, there is the chance of a little bit of a thunderstorm, and you do see that there is some shear with that. Notice, let me see if this is showing up. Yeah, the skew T diagram is showing marginal tornado as the possible hazard type. That is something we're going to have to watch for. The tornado threat is not zero. The shear is not as great as it was on the 16th. I know that's kind of the new bar for around here, but there is some shear there, especially with those morning thunderstorms on Friday. And then as we go into the evening, I think we transition more to scattered to linear groups of thunderstorms, what we call mesoscale convective systems, little like clusters of thunderstorms moving through. And with those, usually the risk is more straight line winds. So we may actually have a couple of rounds of severe weather on Friday, kind of starting in central Kentucky near the I-75 corridor around lunchtime or just before through early afternoon. I think we'll see a break and then during the evening hours. And another thing with this kind of setup, it's going to be really hard for the models to latch on. We look at them as guidance, not gospel in this situation. We see the potential of severe thunderstorms popping up. I'm not going to say right now with any level of certainty Somerset's going to have severe weather at noon on Friday. That is one possibility one model is showing. Um, Logan Paul asking, what's causing these storms to get so intense out of nowhere? It's not even so much that it's out of nowhere. It has been before this recent round of severe weather. We have to roll the clock back all the way to 2012 before we had a widespread super outbreak in Kentucky. We did have that outbreak out in Western Kentucky 2021, but that didn't get into Eastern Kentucky. For just whatever reason, this year, everything is lining up that all the ingredients are coming together in Central and Eastern Kentucky a lot better than they have in a long time. Uh, a lot of times in the winter, I talk about to get snow, you have to have all the ingredients come together. Well, to get severe weather, you have to have all the ingredients come together. You've got to have moisture, you've got to have instability, you have to have a lifting mechanism, you have to have wind shear in both speed and direction at different layers through the atmosphere. It's not very often that everything comes together just perfectly to get that perfect recipe for severe weather. Now, unfortunately, a couple of times so far this year, things have come together a lot more frequently and a lot more intensely than it has in recent years past. So it's just part of the pattern we're in right now. The subtropical jet is very active. We're seeing a lot of moisture come in off the Pacific on and off the Gulf of Mexico. The northern branch of the jet stream has also been more active. There's been a lot of dips down. We're seeing unusual cool snaps trying to push their way into the U.S. for this time of year. And when those two jets come together, nasty stuff happens, and just that's part of the pattern we're unfortunately in right now, and doesn't really show any major signs of letting up, unfortunately. So that is one model's take. That is the NAM model's take on what the weather could do. Here's the HRRR. This is just another forecast model. Once again, it's showing some thunderstorms breaking out Friday. And then there's that kind of convective line I was talking about Friday around 6 o'clock for London. about 5 o'clock for Somerset. So once again, this just shows the potential threat. I wouldn't count on the timing for sure. Just know anytime Friday afternoon or evening, we're fair game for some severe thunderstorms. So Shauna, I hope that answers your question. I wish I could get a little bit more detailed on the timing. I may be able to get a little bit better tomorrow. And I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a little bit of a heads up, just a personal note. I'm going to be a bit tied up the next couple of days. My mom's birthday is tomorrow. I'm also going over to WYMT to tape an episode of Issues and Answers. And then I'm actually heading out on vacation on Friday. So I'm going to be out, so I may not be able to live stream on Friday. I'll try to post updates as possible. But just know I'm going to be a little bit out of pocket the next couple of days. I'll try to post updates as I can. So, just to kind of recap, we have a slight risk of severe weather on Friday. Best time frame looks to be from noon through about 10, 11 o'clock Friday evening. Right now, main concern, damaging winds, is kind of the top priority for me. But there is a large hail risk, small chance wise, large hail. There is a chance of heavy rain, and there is a small chance of an isolated tornado or two. I can't rule it out. Clarissa, hopefully not, but I can't rule it out. It's not a non-zero chance. And we'll have a little bit of a better picture both tomorrow and on Friday as the Storm Prediction Center puts out some updated guidance. All right, so if you can't watch me, Logan just asked a good question. Ryan Hall, y'all know or may know he was my intern back at WYMT in 2014 and has built a weather empire. He does a phenomenal job. Max Velocity is another up-and-coming digital weather creator that does a really good job. If you want somebody local, and I always love to support the local guys, my mentors, Chris Bailey and Jim Caldwell at WKYT in Lexington, do an amazing job. Eric Dean and Megan Dusmal at WYMT do a fantastic job. So any of those people, I think, do an awesome job covering covering severe weather. If you definitely want more of a focus on local, I suggest any of the meteorologists at WKYT or WYMT. And I've also got some friends at some of the other stations around Lexington. I'll give a shout out to Emily McKinney at LEX18. I've known her for a long time. She's an awesome meteorologist. I went to school with Justin Logan. He's an old friend of mine, the chief meteorologist at Fox 56. He is a great meteorologist, great weather communicator. Jordan Smith up out of Rockcastle County has a very strong online following. Good dude, good meteorologist, knows his stuff, and just actually finished his degree up at Mississippi State. So all some good folks that you can get good weather information from. Also, weather radio is a great thing to have. You can program it to get county-wide warnings. Highly recommend those. Do not depend on a siren to get warning, folks. If we learned anything on the night of May 16th, don't depend on the siren to get your warning. Weather apps, any of the local TV stations will have geofenced alerts for your area. The Weather Channel Storm app is a good one. It'll send you alerts when warnings are issued for your area. Just have multiple ways to get weather information on Friday. Go ahead and refresh your severe weather plan. Know, hey, where do we go in case of a tornado warning? Do we know where hard hats or helmets are? How are we going to protect our heads? If you have like a watch issued for your area, go ahead and maybe start staging some supplies. Make sure to have a good pair of closed-toe shoes to put on in case you have to shelter in place. Make sure you have something like a whistle in case you get trapped. If, God forbid, a tornado does hit, you start hearing people search and rescue, you can blow the whistle, let them know, hey, I'm here, come help me. Having your important insurance documentation somewhere you can easily get to it, or saved on your phone in an encrypted, secure manner, is a really good tip. Those are all things you can do to get ready for the severe weather. I don't think this is going to be a big severe weather outbreak. I do think if we do see anything, it will probably be a little limited in scope and severity. But as we've seen, even on a slight risk day, poor Washington County caught that EF2 right on the chin a little while ago. So we don't want to mess around. We want to take every outlook serious. We want to take every warning serious, just because you never know when it's actually going to really produce. And that's going to be the time where you're going to be seeing Mother Nature at her worst. So, Logan, I hope that answers your question. And I'm going to try to post updates as I can. I will probably do another video tomorrow evening. But I just want to let folks know that Friday is probably a no-go for me online live streaming. No, so May 16th in London was kind of weird. So we were in the enhanced, we were in a 3 out of 5 in London, but just over in Somerset was a 4, a moderate risk. And by definition, the moderate risk is anywhere in the zone plus 25 miles. So if you carry that on over to London, we technically did fall into that moderate risk, or we were on the border of that moderate to enhanced risk. But that storm just absolutely took off, like when it crossed the line from Russell County into Pulaski County, and just intensified. Like, I tracked that storm all night. I know several of you guys were watching, and like it just got worse and worse as it got into the Cumberland Valley and got into some of that untapped air and just blew up and took off. And the ingredients were perfect that night. We are not looking at that kind of combination of ingredients, thankfully, right now for Friday, and hopefully we keep it that way. We do not need nor want to deal with that mess again anytime soon. I would like to go the rest of my life without seeing another EF4 in my hometown, or any tornadoes, period. Don't think I'll get that lucky, but hopefully we don't have to deal with any more large, violent, severe tornadoes. Any other questions? I know it is very late. I know a lot of folks are probably going to watch this after the fact. If you watch this after the fact and have questions, feel free to leave a comment. I'll try to check those as I can early tomorrow morning and answer those best I can. As SPC puts out new outlooks tomorrow, I will be updating my Facebook page, so check out Meteorologist Shane Smith. Be sure to hit that like or follow button there. You can turn on the notifications, so anytime I post an update, you'll get that. I also try to post weather updates as I can over on X, formerly known as Twitter, sometimes over on Instagram. I'll try to get the word out about the information for the severe weather as it starts to come into a clearer picture tomorrow. Final call for questions before we wrap this up. I know everybody's probably tired. All right, guys. Well, once again, thank you so much for stopping by. Remember, we have that slight risk for severe weather on Friday for most of the state. Scattered severe thunderstorms possible, short-lived and or not widespread, but isolated intense storms. That's what that slight risk means. And just by pure probability, a 15 to 29% chance for anybody in the yellow. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. I hope you found this helpful. Please be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Turn on the notification bells. That'll let you know anytime I go live here on Facebook or YouTube. And we will try to bring you some more weather information to keep you ahead of the storm. And as always, friends, take care. Stay weather aware. This has been Meteorologist Shane.